Now watching Chris Kelly battling wirfs in Game 2 of their quarterfinals. I apologize for the lack of me being on air during the first few turns. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but it seems like we got that taken care of. If anybody is watching, I want to welcome them. If not, we'll hopefully have a better replay for this. Okay, sorry about that. Again, yeah, just had a little bit of technical difficulties on my end. But it looks like we're up and running. Right now, wirfs is playing Throne Room. Chris Kelly decided to go with the Carbonite Council, Carbonite CCT, Carbon Chamber Testing. Sorry. Looks like he's played the version with any methods necessary, so we can start Boba Fett with Boba Fett's blaster in his hand. That being said, he also has Despair on the table, so once Boba Fett or anybody decides to move with Jabba's Prize or the Frozen Rebel, we will probably see a flip and some retrieval, some extra damage. There's a lot of good stuff. Kelly decides to play He's All Yours Bounty Hunter, a card that hasn't seen a lot of plays. For the remainder of your turn, your Bounty Hunter draws one battle destiny if unable to otherwise, and moves for free during your move phase. Cancel an attempt to use a weapon to target your Bounty Hunter escorting a captive. So it's a good way of keeping your Bounty Hunters alive, especially like IG-88 or Boba Fett in this case. So Boba Fett grabs Jabba's Prize. So we are seeing Chris Kelly run a Jabba's Prize. He's now using Boba Fett's blaster rifle, the V version, so that he can move. So if it's on your non-maintenance cost bounty hunter, you deploy it on your non-maintenance cost bounty hunter on Boba Fett. Once per game during your move phase, may use tool force to relocate him with any captive he's escorting to a Jabba's Palace site. May target a character or vehicle for free. Draw destiny. Target is immediately hit if the destiny is +2 is greater than defense value. That's a Lenny Rubin card, everybody. Seems pretty good in this match. Kelly is also running the new virtual of the Carbon Chamber console. So a lot of virtual cards in this one. And the Jabba's Prize has been delivered. So one thing that Chris Kelly did in this matchup is he took away the possibility of wirfs playing solo, at least until wirfs comes down and does something about the Jabba's Prize there. So that was Kelly's second turn. wirfs looks like he had a pretty decent opening hand. He does have the Boss Nash Chamber and the Home 1 docking bay on the table, so getting two of his main sites on the table is pretty good. Okay, doesn't have the JCC yet, and I'm going to guess that he doesn't have. He's going to be getting the Home 1 docking bay, or not the Home 1, the hot docking bay this turn. Up, speak of the devil. So I'm going to assume we might see wirfs come down with at least something to try and get rid of that Boba Fett, his gun, and rescue Han Solo at the Jabba's Palace audience chamber. I'm a little surprised that Kelly didn't go with something else to back up Boba Fett, but yep, here we go. We have a Jedi, or Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight coming down against the Boba Fett. Let's see if Kelly has anything to. Nope, nothing so far. He doesn't do anything to stop the Luke from coming down. He does pull There Is No Try shield, so if wirfs has a sense or an altar in this case, he would be pinged to force and the card would be lost. wirfs does have, he uses Like My Father Before Me to grab the lightsaber. So wirfs is using Chris Kelly's own card against him. Very interesting. I like it. I like it. So I'm going to assume that Kelly has something for this. Maybe a stunning leader, or he's got to have something to stop this battle here, because if he loses, this battle. It's pretty good. So, see what Kelly has to stop Luke, if anything. We're up to 6 people watching right now. Again, this is game 2 of... This is our final game in the quarterfinals. Actually, Chris Kelly versus Chris wirfs. Chris wirfs won the first game. I want to say it was by 14. And we're now on the second one. Looks like they decided to play a little earlier tonight, too. I know last night they started at 7. So, Kelly uses Boba Fett's game text, the once per game, where he can search out a card. He can put a card back to search for a card. And he uses, there's the stunning leader. So the battle is canceled. Kelly is still able to do something. He loses to the weapons display. He loses Imperial Artillery and Ellis in the Hinthra. So, but more importantly, he gets to keep Boba Fett there for at least another turn. wirfs draws a few cards. See if he puts one back with, like my father before me. And he does. Oh, no, he draws one, and then he goes and will put a card back. So wirfs has a bunch of cards in his hand. Kelly only has 4. And unfortunately for Kelly, he's not running... He doesn't have the IG-88 out there, so he can't do a bunch of searching out his force pile. But he does have... I'm going to assume that he still has the Jabba's Palace pool, so we might see that. Apparently I can't spell tonight. Trying to post that we are actually streaming the game right now. So Kelly is starting his turn. wirfs has simple tricks and nonsense on the table, so Kelly cannot retrieve with his objective. But he is able to go get scum and villainy. Doesn't look like he has it in there. Kelly goes and uses Weemop to go grab the blockade flagship's bridge. It's a good 2-0 site. And he will initiate the Jabba's Palace site's text to go get an alien. And he goes and gets Daru. Now, Daru is good because you can use him to go get a droid. And normally when we see IG-88 be the droid of choice, there is the IG-88. So once Kelly gets IG-88 to be... Once he puts Jabba's Prize onto IG-88, he'll be able to do that force pull, or that pull a card from his force pile, both turns. So he gets to do it once on his turn and once on wirfs' turn. And he does transfer the captive over, so now IG-88 is in control of the Jabba's Prize. Now, the good thing about IG-88, not only does he get to do that, but if you target IG-88 with a weapon, you can lose a force to cancel a weapon drawn. So he has some survivability, especially with that canceling of the weapons destinies. And not only that, but Daru says, during battle, may retarget an opponent's weapon, target your droid to another one of your characters present, including Daru. So Daru backs up IG-88 as well. So that's pretty good. Kelly uses the new Carbon Chamber console to activate a force and he takes the card into hand with IG-88. Wirfs does have a 9-card hand, 10 force to use in his force pile, so probably going to see him come down with something to try and get rid of some of those characters. It's interesting that Kelly had to move Boba Fett's. He moved Boba Fett's bounty or Boba Fett's blaster rifle onto IG-88 as well. I think that's because IG-88 has a little bit more survivability than, say, the Boba Fett. Okay, Wirfs is looking for a docking bay. No docking bay. Kelly gets to take a look. And I'm pretty sure Wirfs wants to come down with something to try and get rid of those cards this turn. He doesn't want to allow Kelly to keep just pulling cards each turn, just stacking up that one site, because there's not a lot of battlegrounds. There's only 2 battlegrounds right now on the table, the Cloud City site and Jabba's Palace site. Not only that, because Kelly has to spare on the table, that will add to the force strain at the audience chamber. So I'm personally just interested in the fact that Chris Kelly decided to play CCT over any of the other dark side decks, especially considering that Kelly and Wirfs both didn't say anything about not having like a ROPS, not having map. So very interesting choice. So Wirfs throws down Ray after he got the JCC out. So now he gets to pull a card out of his use pile. Let's see what card he... Unfortunately, he probably won't tell us what he got, but let's see if it's going to be a card that will help him out this turn. So right now for Wirfs, so the best thing about this situation is he doesn't have to lose Luke unless Luke is hit. And I don't think Luke is going to be hit unless Kelly draws... I want to say he has to draw a 6 to hit. Yeah, and I think that's another reason why he decided not to play map. ROPS is kind of the same thing. So personally, I just like the choice. It has some retrieval built into it. It has retrieval with scum and villainy, so it's a pretty good deck. Oh, and here comes Padme to join the battle. If we see a battle, which we probably will, Wirfs uses all of the force he has in his force pile to throw those 2 characters down, but he can put 1 more force back with Light My Father Before Me. So that is just enough to initiate a battle. So we'll see Wirfs and Kelly. I believe Kelly gets 2 Destiny. Or no, that Boba Fett. Yeah, and adds 1 Destiny with Vader or piloting a Slave 1. So nope, he will not be getting 2 Destiny. He's just getting 1. I don't think Kelly does. I think it's mostly just been mapped for him. So both players get 1 Destiny. Kelly gets to shoot Boba Fett's gun. Wirfs gets to fire use the lightsaber, and Wirfs will also have Destiny to Attrition as well. So there goes Wirfs firing at Daru. A 2. And another Padme, so a 3. So Daru is hit. So we're probably going to see Wirfs, or no, sorry, not Wirfs, but Kelly lose the Boba Fett. Oh, and that's a good card. Lana Dobreed and Sacrifice. So even though Daru's hit, he still has his forfeit. Very nice. So now we'll probably see, yep, there we go with the gun being shot at Padme. And a 3. So Padme is hit. But she still has her forfeit. So unless Kelly draws an 8, which I don't see happening. Okay, so she'll be the only loss in this battle for Wirfs. Wirfs draws a 4 for Destiny, but it becomes a 6 with Like My Father Before Me and Ray. Kelly draws a 2. So Kelly's down by 9. Thankfully for him, he has both the forfeits of Boba Fett and Daru. So probably going to see Boba Fett and Daru go away. Padme again is the only casualty in this battle for Wirfs. Oh, never mind. Chris Kelly just concedes. This game is over, everybody. Chris Wirfs has advanced to face our world champion Bastion. That's a turn 3 win. I mean, having to come back and win by a lot, that would be pretty hard, even for a world-class player like Chris Kelly. But yeah, Chris Wirfs advances on to play Bastion in the semifinals. Chris Wirfs is the last Chris standing. So, in the battle of the Chris's, there is only one. There is Chris Wirfs, our guest from last night, who won his first game in amazing fashion, just came down and had almost every answer that he needed to take down Chris Kelly. And then tonight, he pretty much had a pretty strong lockout. And I want to say, so no, Kelly would had to have lost the IG-88 in that battle as well. So yeah, that would hurt. Wirfs calling out Bastion in the chat, saying, "Bastion, watch out! I'm coming for you." Bastion, let us know. I want to do commentary for this game. But I want to thank everybody who watched. Again, sorry for the little bit of a delay in the first few minutes and everything. Until we find out when the next few games are going to be, we have 6 more games of Star Wars coming up. We have Justin Branch and Greg Shaw on the one side of the bracket, and Bastion Winklehouse and Chris Wirfs on the other side. I believe Bastion and Wirfs are playing for the Sith, while Greg and Justin are both playing as Jedi. That's a little bracket that I made up just as something, kind of Star Wars-ish. So until next time, take care, everybody, and have a good night.